Paula Almiron. I'm the Partnership and Funding Manager at EIT Food Northwest. I work for Iceland, Ireland, and the UK geographies. We are happy to have today partners from all the European regions and some rising food stars and members of the Food Accelerator Network. Today, we will be delivering the session in 4 different stages. First, we will start with an introduction to EIT Food Northwest and the Startups Discovery Series. After that, Valentina and Klaas from Surova will introduce their company, challenges and opportunities for future collaboration. And also Georgios Vanesi, CEO of Mildtech, will introduce their company and also express their spaces for future collaboration. You can ask questions as we go along. You can drop those questions to the chat. And also we will have some space for questions and answers after each of the presentations. After all the presentations that we have today, we will just share with you some final remarks. If we look at EIT Food, we are the largest and most dynamic food innovation community. We focus on innovation to build a food system that produces healthy and sustainable food for all. We are working on a 3-mission roadmap that will shape priorities for action over the next 3 to 5 years in the following mission program areas: healthier lives through food, net zero food system, and a fully transparent, resilient, and fair food system. As you can see, we work on 5 different regional offices across Europe. We work on 4 pillars: education, innovation, entrepreneurship, and public engagement. And this means that we cover the whole food system. Amy, okay, so at EIT Food Northwest, we work in 3 focus areas: targeted nutrition, sustainable agriculture, and sustainable land use. We work closely with a diverse network of partners, including key industry players, agri-food startups, research centers, and universities from our region. Together and as part of the wider EIT Food community, we are all working to deliver an innovative and entrepreneurial food sector. Amy, would you like to go on?
Yeah, no worries. So just want to welcome you to our second Startup Discovery Series, which is Net Zero Food System. We also had our first session in this, which was Healthier Lives Through Food, and the recording is available on YouTube if anybody would want to watch that. And then we would also like to encourage you to sign up to our fully transparent, resilient and fair food system series on the 22nd of November. Just the next slide then, Paula. Perfect. So today we're joined by Surova and Mildtech. So Surova is going to go first and we're going to hand over to Valentina to present, but just a brief introduction. They build fully automated tech farms near consumers so we can enjoy fresh, healthy and climate-friendly grains and vegetables. And then we're going to hand over after to Mildtech, who use an integrated artificial intelligence system for food processing, cooking and drying. And then obviously after each presentation, you are welcome to put questions, so you can drop them into the chat or ask them out loud, and I'm sure Valentina and Gorgeous will be happy to answer. So if I hand over to Valentina first.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just going to take a few seconds to start my slides. And so that I can present. Whoop. All right. Just to make sure you can see me moving between the slides.
We can see your slides, Valentina.
Awesome. Thanks for confirming, Paula. All right, I will start. My name is Valentina Klaas. I'm co-founder of Surova, Icelandic hardware tech company. Thanks for finding the time to join and to listen to about what the other companies are doing and yeah, what's actually happening in the world and what solutions we're bringing out there. So Surova started as a company just a couple of years ago, I met my co-founders that were really interested in optimizing food production in Iceland and actually bringing solutions to increasing local food production, because Iceland is a isolated island. We're very much dependent on importations. Iceland is producing only 43% of vegetables to meet the local demands, and Iceland is actually not a very big country. We're only 360,000 people living here, and then when we looked at the statistics of how much is actually imported in here, it's mind-blowing. It's like 60 million tons come yearly to Iceland just to feed this relatively little population. So, and we're also living in a country with abundance of green energy. You know, our energy sources come from hydro and geothermal, and so it's pretty much one of the cleanest sources of energy. And we have lots of land, and it seems like nobody is doing enough about that. So we decided to embark, you know, on that mission with the vision of actually making countries like Iceland more sustainable in local food production and provide technological solutions to make climate-friendly and scalable technology that can deliver actually good quality produce to local markets. And we looked at the different factors that were affecting like why Iceland wasn't actually producing more. And one of the reasons is that labor costs in Iceland are very, very high. So it's actually expensive to hire people to work in farms. Another reason was that people were not really willing to invest so much in optimizing their greenhouses and their farms. Also, on the other hand, relying significantly on subsidies from the government for covering electricity and water costs. So that really didn't seem very safe and reliable. But luckily enough, we saw that as actually an opportunity and not a challenge to actually come and bring a product that we came up with and that we had in mind, and that is to have fully automated, pretty much plug and play type automated farms, and not only target current growers and current farmers, but actually target businesses that are delivering produce to end consumers, because especially they are the ones that see it as one of the biggest challenges, that they cannot fulfill these demands, that people come to the grocery store, for example, and they cannot find a good product that they want, or they're not buying it enough because it doesn't look good, or that they're straight away buying everything Icelandic because people want local and Icelandic and fresh, but then they cannot actually meet these demands. So yeah, we decided to go and straight work with this kind of businesses for whom who have this unmet demand, you know, in local produce. So this is how our product could potentially look from the outside, and this is actually a farm that we are setting up downtown Reykjavik next year. What is more exciting is actually what is inside that magic box and inside of our product. But the point is that it can be, our technology can be set up in any form of infrastructure, whether it's a basement area or a square. We can make it look beautiful and pretty and actually exciting and engaging for people. But let's look at what the product is actually from the inside. So we have hardware and software components, and it's a fully automated farm with a lot of different subsystems. But if we just to combine them and generalize, so we are designing and building our own robotics that are more compact that are usually used in the agricultural industry and also in other vertical farms, for example. Then, of course, automation is a large component of our farms. We use AI to make predictions into both how much we need to grow of the produce for our customer, and then also to optimize our growth environment and provide the best environment for the plants to grow inside. And then we also make our own software to deploy all the subsystems that are operating this farm. And then we also use hydroponics as a growing method because it's a very water efficient method, and that's the one that is we found most suitable to use in this kind of fully automated setup. And another exciting subsystem that we're working on is a biogenic carbon capturing system where we would be taking atmospheric carbon and streaming it into our growing units because they are like fully enclosed. So yeah, it's super exciting because then we don't need to use gas from gallons, and plants actually need they need carbon during the photosynthesis period to grow big and strong. So because there is so much carbon in the air, we found a way to actually sequestrate that and turn it into biomass pretty much. So yeah, it's a bit of a complicated machine, but overall it's this magical box where you put seeds, nutrients, growing mediums into a special compartment, and then the whole production process pretty much happens with no human intervention inside of that system. And if we look at where we would go in the market and where we would scale, of course, right now, Iceland is our test playground. This is the country where we want to be able to grow as many varieties of produce as possible. And because we are a tech and automation company, we want to first build a robust technological product, and that takes quite a few years of development. So actually this year and next year will still be development years for us, although we are actually setting up a full-scale farm with a customer next year. It's not going to have all the functions, it's not going to have full automation yet, but we will already have a proof of concept that we can actually grow and we can scale up all our most challenging and complicated systems from our product. So I think Iceland will definitely be our focus, maybe even for the next 5 years, because we want to, while we are building a robust product, we will be growing more simple varieties of produce, such as different leafy greens, and we want to grow a lot of spinach because it's a very healthy product, and 185 tons of spinach are imported to Iceland every year, and Iceland is still not producing spinach because it's actually a picky plant to grow. But using our enclosed systems, this plant actually thrives much better. It doesn't like so much of human intervention and all the pests that are coming, along with it. But yeah, to summarize, we will stay in Iceland for the next 5 years, and then we see an opportunity to scale in Nordic and the Arctic regions, because our concept is built in such a way that we can have this smaller scale farms placed directly to businesses. So this can actually work really well for remote locations where the populations are not so dense, and that way we can bring more value to people that are living in this more remote locations, and not only to citizens that are living inside the cities. And I think that's really cool because, of course, a lot of people are living in the cities, and we need to think about the cities, but then there's also many people that live in a little bit of like isolation and also have a lot of produce delivered to them and imported to them, and they experience a lot of disruptions in supplies. So we wanted to target these regions as well and bring value to them, and hopefully also encourage people to also decentralize, not only move to cities, but actually be able to live in other environments, which I think is becoming possible with encouragement of remote working and this kind of topics. And so if we look at our customers base, we are focusing primarily on food retailers, so on grocery stores, and then on importing companies, because they are the ones that are delivering a lot of fresh and quality produce to restaurants. And in Iceland, at least, there is a lot of disruptions that they're experiencing. So importing companies also see a big value in being able to produce their own product without actually knowing how to grow and how it actually works. And large restaurants is also something we can target, because we do have a minimal space requirement with the farms that we set, but then they're also easily scalable and adjustable and can grow with the demands of the business. But the whole idea is that we would make this fully automated farms and give them to businesses and like rent them to businesses, and they don't have to know anything about how it works. We just give them a technological solutions, and they become growers without knowing how it actually operates. They just need to send an order for the desired amount of produce, and our algorithm can also give them suggestions of how much they should order. And depending on where they allocate it, either we will ourselves do the refill of the nutrients and seeds and growing mediums, or we can send them a package and they can very easily fill up the containers, just as easy as putting coffee beans in the coffee machine. So we want to make it as easy as possible for the customer, and we take care of the rest. And so our competitors are pretty much vegetable growers and vertical farmers, but they can also become our customer. We don't see them only as a competitor, because our technology and the systems that we are developing are very easily customizable. And if they want to improve their operational cost, we can also sell or rent them the technology they need, so they can also optimize their production costs and deliver more produce, because there's definitely space for that in Icelandic markets. And if we are compare ourselves, I think one of the differentiators is that even though we are targeting a bit smaller production scale than people usually do with setting big and like large infrastructure production facilities, we have this smaller scale production units, but we can still actually outperform current growers in operational costs, because we have automated the whole production process. And then also because we are placing these farms and production close to where people consume the food, that is maximizing the quality and the freshness of the goods and actually their nutritional properties, which I think is great and super valuable to people who live on this island and in other regions where people are receiving a lot of imported produce. And our business model is based on having a subscription for renting out this ready-to-grow farms, and we will own all the technology, and our customer will own everything that they grow. They can set up the prices for how much they want to sell the produce for, but we give a technological solution that allows to produce at lower production cost, and then the retailer can regulate like how low or how high they want to put the price. We take on our side an upfront payment to set up the farm, and then we take a fixed monthly rent for the farms that we are providing to them. And that includes like percentage of sales and liabilities and maintenance and like service of these farms, which doesn't have to happen often, but probably will need to do it more often in the first years while we're still optimizing our product. So as I mentioned, we are still in the development stage. We do have a working proof of concept, which is great. We managed to prove that this can actually work, but not all of our subsystems are reached like the final phase. We haven't integrated like the full automation just yet. So we are setting up a full-scale beta product next year for the customer, and then gonna add more automation to it. And then I think like beginning or mid of 2024, this is when we have a product that we are striving for, a fully automated farm. And this is when we will start upgrading a couple of farms that we have already set up, and then also being able to launch the farms with full automation. And then we can go like outside of Reykjavik capital area as well. Yeah, this is my founding team. As I say, we are plant and tech kids, and even though our inspiration came from Iceland, we do believe that we can actually make a global impact with the farms that we do, and absolutely have enough of technical expertise to build the product. But of course, we're not people with like 20+ years of working experience. But we have a lot of enthusiasm and love solving problems, and this has been our full-time project, and for this whole year. So we're working with a lot of excitement and towards it. That's all on my side. Thank you for your attention. I'm probably haven't elaborated on some of the topics, so I'm hoping that it triggered your interest, and I'm going to get a lot of questions from you. You can visit our webpage, send a line, find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to also, as a starting entrepreneur, just share some tips with you, or just provide advice, funding, whatever topics you have on your startup journey as well, and in other fields. Thank you. Hopefully I didn't go over time also.
Thank you, Valentina, for your presentation. It's an amazing technology, and and it's also from Iceland, so that has an extra points. So, Amy, do we have any questions yet?
No, there's none on the chat just yet. But
I'd like to ask a question.
Okay.
I would like to know a little bit more about your biogenic carbon capturing system. Are you going to manufacture that yourselves, or is it something you're going to just buy to use?
We are going to manufacture it ourselves. We did a test this summer, actually. It's nothing too secretive, to be honest. I can tell you a little bit what it is. We're using a compound called zeolite. It has properties of capturing carbon at cold temperatures of around 10 degrees and lower, and then it releases carbon at warmer temperatures of around 20 degrees. And it's a big advantage for Iceland because it's cold in Iceland quite often. Even in the summer, we are often at the temperature of 10 degrees. So we don't even have to cool this compound for it to have the capturing properties. But then when we expose the compound inside of our systems, then the growing environment is much warmer there, so it can release. But then we're also using just hot water in Iceland to warm up the environment where compound is stored, so it can release the carbon inside. And we did like a little prototype of that. We managed to prove that it's carbon capturing, which we just have to still working on like optimizing it and solving like the humidity issue with this compound, because it likes to absorb carbon but also moisture and water overall.
Sounds very interesting. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, I think we've seen vertical farming before, but
yes,
we haven't really seen it being incorporated with sort of your micro robotics and that sort of technology, which I think is a huge step in the right direction. But the question I had on that part was, are you protected with these sort of robotics and these new designs that you're creating? Is this something that you are looking to seek protection for, or is it?
Yes, we are looking to patent the designs of the robotics, and this is maybe one of the main things we can patent right now. As of now, it's just mostly based on like NDAs, everyone who has access to our system, and then we'll just have to do like a really deep check on making sure we don't violate any other designs, and yeah, do some other changes. It's in somewhat, we're gonna start a base for that next year for sure, as we're moving towards like a full scale and moving away from prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how, sorry, just a quick question on how do you control sort of the pest side of the farm? And how do you make sure that, you know, there isn't an invasive species?
It's a closed system, so you want to.
Oh, okay.
I was saying
Yeah.
maybe because it's a closed system, you shouldn't really get any pests.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the advantage of not having people involved in the whole growing process, because, yeah, we just put everything that's required for the growth, and then everything is enclosed in the system, and the air that comes into the system is filtered out, so there is actually no exposure there unless something goes really bad and the system breaks down and a human has to go inside the system to fix it. But that way, yes, it's not contaminated with pests, which is amazing.
Excellent, well done.
It seems like a very complicated project to do because we have to combine so many factors and subsystems, but then I think if it actually works, it's such a added value and it actually reduces a lot of complications. So I really hope that we can make it work.
Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Valentina. Now we are going to have Georgios and Mildtech. So if you would like to start with your presentation.
Actually, Neema is going to take over for the presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
So Bassos, if you would like
It's
to.
Neema actually, Paula.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yes, so I'm Neema. I'm the system design engineer at Mildtech. And who are Mildtech? Well, Mildtech, we offer state-of-the-art solid-state cooking and drying technology that we hope to revolutionize the way everyone cooks. So let's go into what we do. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. So who are Mildtech? Well, Mildtech is actually a project from Freshfield Limited, and Freshfield Limited, as founded by Georgios, has been trading in the UK food and catering industry for over 22 years now. This project, Mildtech project, was Horizon 2020 funded. We received 1.8 million euros in 2019, which really put the project into top gear and allowed us to accelerate the production of our machines. And we are also very proud members of the EIT Food Network, Accelerator Network. We have been part of the 2021 cohort, and we love the support and we love the events that they hold. And yeah, so that's a bit about us. Our mission in total is just to provide a smarter solution for how we cook our food and the quality of the food that we cook. So the three main benefits of our project is low temperatures, fast processing times, and reduced energy consumption. Three major parts of cooking in general, I think. The lower temperatures and also coincide with reduced energy, and who doesn't want to cook with fast speeds? You know, it does save a lot of time, money, and effectiveness. Yes. So I'll go on to explain a bit more about these 3 points and our technology. So firstly, just to talk about the low temperatures. Well, how do we cook at such low temperatures? Well, we use solid state technology, and that is partnered with a vacuum system. So the vacuum system actually allows us to bring down the boiling point of water. So we are able to cook at between 30 to 40, 50 degrees, whereas conventionally it would have to be maybe 150 degrees plus. So this effectively helps reduce the amount of energy that we need and it also allows the food itself to be produced in a much more effective way, and the food is a lot more has a much better quality to it. So the constitutional properties, the organoleptic properties of the food are all retained, as we are not damaging that sort of cell structure with high temperatures. We are keeping all those intact. So just as an example, dried lemons and limes that you see are usually quite brown, where our technology, our dried lemons and limes are bright green and bright yellow. So you can see in person how well we are able to keep these properties in the food, which is excellent. So also the fast processing times. Well, we are considerably quicker than conventional methods of cooking and drying. We have cooked whole chickens in times less than 15 minutes, where we've actually had to increase the temperature for a short period of time just to meet the regulations for the food safety and hygiene. Even though it's of course perfectly fine and it has killed all the bacteria, we have to meet that 66 degrees that chicken needs to be cooked at. So drying fruit and veg, we have noticed with a bunch of experiments, we can reduce it to 5% of its original moisture content in less than 90 minutes. And this is comparing that to conventional methods. This can take days if you do it natural drying, and it can take weeks and days with freeze drying and weeks with natural sun drying. So a much shorter time of cooking, which is great. And finally, which we consider the most important part of this project, is the reduced energy consumption of our machines. So we have noticed that we use considerably less energy due to the low temperatures and the solid state technology that we incorporate. So as an example, when we cook 1 ton of chicken, our machines use about 15 kilowatt hours of energy. And this compares to a huge 140 kilowatt hours used by convention fan ovens. So that's a huge saving of 125 kilowatt hours per ton. Effectively, this is going to lead us to contribute to carbon net zero in 2050, and we hope that, more importantly, it will reduce the energy costs that companies will need to use to cook their food. And I don't know how it is over in your countries, but in the UK, energy is at an all-time high right now. So I think that's a very important part of the project, is how much energy we are saving and how much money in effect it will save not only businesses but individuals and companies. So just some data. As I said, I'm a systems design engineer, so data is my passion. So we have here 3 experiments, and they are 3 different types of our machines, 3 different sizes, if you like. I'll go on to those in a bit, but let's just have a look at some data. So experiment 1, we are using our domestic machine, and this is our smallest machine that we offer. So in this experiment, we compare 2 kilograms of chicken in a convention fan oven using electricity on the left hand column there. As you can see, that took 40 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. I think that's something everyone's familiar with. That sounds about right. Whereas our technology uses 80 degrees Celsius. And again, that was only due to increasing the temperature to meet the regulations. And that took 15 minutes to cook. And if we could show the results with the chicken itself, the chicken's a lot more moist. It's a lot more evenly cooked. With convention fan ovens, you're sort of cooking from the outside in, whereas our technology is, throughout the chicken itself, so in, out, everywhere at the same time. It's homogenic. Experiment 2, so that's our second machine. It's about the middle-sized machine that we use. So as you can see, 100 kilograms of chicken, about 45 minutes again in a convention oven, more for the catering industry, so a lot of a bigger oven. 200 degrees Celsius, 20 kilowatt hours compared to our technology, which uses 6 kilowatt hours. So more than 50% energy savings and a lot more than 50% time, yeah, about 75%. And experiment 3 is our largest machine. So this is 1 ton of chicken. And as you can see, we were able to cook 1 ton of chicken in 15 minutes, which is incredible. And this temperature that we used in this cooking process was between 20 to 80 degrees Celsius. And I know it sounds a bit surreal that 20 degrees can cook, but it can, and it does it very well. With fruit and vegetables, actually, we don't like to go above 30 degrees because that's where the color and the organoleptic properties, the vitamins, they all get destroyed. The cells get denatured past about 40 degrees. So keeping it at that low temperature is really, really impactful with not only the quality of the food, but the visual quality and the properties of it. Yeah. And again, 15 kilowatt hours compared to 140 kilowatt hours used in the industrial machine. So really, really revolutionizing the way we cook. So where do we take it a step further? Yeah, we do take it one more step further, and that's including a integrated smart system and PAT system. So what does that mean? So the technology that we use automates the cooking and drying process, and we are able to offer predetermined processing recipes for the customer to use. So it's just click and go effectively. So our processing recipes refer to optimal time, temperature ranges, so ensuring it doesn't exceed a certain temperature and ensuring that if it does, what happens. The frequency that we cook at is very important. Each food requires its own specific frequency, and that's just due to its moisture content. So the machine itself actually automatically sweeps the chamber, checks what's in it, and says, you know what, this frequency is what's going to see you less energy loss and more impactful results. And finally, vacuum level. So vacuum level is a very important part of the process as well. That allows us to determine sort of the low temperatures that we use. So high vacuums effectively mean low temperatures, but with certain foods, we have to sort of balance it to make sure that the final product is exactly what we are looking for. And that is confirmed with real-time data using our PAT analyzer and several other sensors that we have in our machine, including a camera as well. So you can keep an eye on your food. And to protect this, we do have 2 patents that are pending. As I was discussing with Valentina, this is very important to protect your ideas. It's probably the most important part of the project is you have an idea and you know it works, but you don't want anyone to run off of it. So yeah, that's our USP effectively. Yeah. So as I said, we currently have 3 prototypes that we were able to derive from the Horizon funding. So the first of the 3 is the domestic one, and that targets more home and small sort of catering companies. It also allows us to showcase our machine and what it can do, because it's sort of transportable, and that's about a 20 kilogram batch cycle that we can do. Our second machine is a catering machine, and that can produce about 50 kilograms per batch, depending on the product. And this is more targeted towards larger restaurants and possibly takeaways. And again, it's transportable. It's not too hard to change from. It's not much bigger than a catering size convention oven. Yeah. And lastly, what we believe is actually the most impactful machine we have is the industrial machine, which is able to process anywhere between 100 kilograms to a ton of food or product per batch. And this is more for the food manufacturers, the nutraceutical, pharmaceutical companies, someone that can really want to sort of speed up their processing time. And yeah, so this is our industrial machine, and that's what we do. I noticed that guy over there. He's so this is a YouTube video that we made for the company, and this is our large industrial machine. It's a 2-minute video. Should we give it a play? Is that okay with everyone? If we play that?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think I'll have this.
For someone that's gone through the whole loan process, this is just amazing.
Oh gosh, skip that. Skip that. Right where it says the skip.
We're not at the stage of YouTube Premium yet. Can't play it there. So I'm gonna have to share my screen over here for a second. Where is it? Oh, it's this one. So there we go. Can you see the YouTube video now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Neema Sedighi. I'm an assistant design engineer here at Mildtech. I'm introducing to you today our small industrial size machine. This machine is capable of producing up to 100 kilograms of load per cycle. If you'd like to take a look at the control parameters that we can change. So over here, we have 4 rows of RF technology, where we can determine which rows are activated or not activated. The important part is setting upper temperature limits and lower temperature limits. So as you can see, for this load, it was done for a higher temperature limit of 28 degrees and a low of 25. So whenever it exceeded that temperature, it would turn off the supply. Here we also have a vacuum limit of 95 kilopascals with a lower of minus 92 kilopascals and the cycle time. We have currently processed some broccoli samples to dry the broccoli to make soup. So as you can see, the broccolis haven't discolored, they're very well dried. They are now holding up to about 10% of their initial weight and their initial moisture level. You can see that it's very dry. Just turn it around. Okay, all our samples are dried at very quick times in very low amounts of energy and low temperatures. As you can see, it never exceeded 28 degrees Celsius. So this machine uses 5 kilowatts of power, and usually that's just done on an on-off basis, depending on the temperature inside. So during the process time, we don't actually use that amount of electricity in that period. So like I said, low power, low temperatures, and excellent quality of food. And that's not ours, so yeah, so actually watching that video, we've actually changed quite a bit since then. We have a new human machine interface, and as I was explaining, we've incorporated the sort of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let me just quickly change my screen back to this one.
No, I think it's that one.
It's this one, yeah. Okay. So back in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we sort of aiming for in our market traction? So do you want to maybe?
No, you can.
Okay, sure. So we've recently given demos and we continuously send samples to a lot of companies. Am I allowed to name them?
Yes, well, yes, why not?
Yeah, so for big companies such as PepsiCo, which something I didn't know, they are in charge of Walker's crisps and Lay's crisps, I think it's called in different countries. They have a huge snack industry and they're very, curious and interested in our technology. Other
Smart foods we've done.
Yeah.
We've done many.
Pepsi is our big name.
We've done many experiments for a lot of people who grow algae.
Yeah.
Because they need to dry their algae very quickly and at low temperatures, so that they keep all the constitutional properties of their algae, because they then use that from pharmaceutical and nutraceutical purposes.
Yeah, as you know, algae is a very wet substance that comes straight from the sea, so it does take a long time to dry it, and it is very delicate as well. So our technology is perfect for those sort of things. Also, pharmaceutical, nutraceutical properties such as drying of vegetables actually make huge difference when you dry them at 30 degrees compared to a higher temperature. So for example, like George mentioned with Smarter Foods, the broccoli that they were drying,
Special grown.
it was especially grown to include more, what was it? Glucoraphanol. So it was proven that with our technology, the glucoraphanol levels of the broccoli was a lot more heightened. So effectively giving their medicinal food a lot more medicine.
And that's used to stop diabetes developing overweight people.
So there's a huge impact for our technology. It's not just cooking at lower temperatures, it also opens up a realm of how much nutrients are included in our food. So it's a great project in all the industries, we believe. And go to our next one. Our competition. So our USPs establish strong competitive positions versus competing both conventional ovens and microwave vacuum drying machines. The main competitor is Enwave, based in Germany. Their technology, however, Canada. Their technology uses magnetrons. So a bit of a sort of lesson about magnetrons and solid state. Solid state's power is variable. So we can go from 1 single watt to 5,000 watts, and we can choose which one. But the magnetrons that you have in your homes, so the microwaves, if you're setting, for example, 400 watts, you're actually turning 800 watts on and off. So on for half the time, off for half the time. So it's always going to be given that maximum power, and that maximum power actually does effectively damage all the organoleptic properties of the, So solid state as well, you can change the frequency. So the adaptive frequency range means that we have much less return loss, which in effect means a lot more energy going in is being actually absorbed by the food rather than being just bounced straight back out. So those are sort of the main sort of benefits that we hold over our competitors. We also incorporate the machine learning and artificial intelligence, and that is also our recipe structure is also a big positive part. But we are the only company in the UK using solid state technology with vacuum to cook and dry food, so that's a plus there. So who are we? We currently have 12 people working. So I'm the systems design engineer, and I have a few other engineers that help me out with the project. And then Giorgio here, he has a team of marketing people and team of sort of accounting, finance, all the technical stuff. They make sure that we stay protected. They make sure that we stay funded, and they make sure that we stay happy as well. So yeah, we're what I can describe our company as is just one big happy family. And I think that for everyone starting, it's very important to make sure you pick your team, especially for a startup company, pick your team wisely and keep everyone happy and keep communicating with each other, because in effect, that's what sees the results, I think. So yeah, it's us. And just to close quickly, because I know it might be a bit overwhelming how much I might have spoken, but our technology, it can cook and dry very quickly using very little energy. It's a tested and proven technology. We have a variety of different machines, and we are also able to produce bespoke machines for bespoke clients. We were Horizon 2020 funded, which, as I said, really helped us produce our prototypes and show proof of concept. And we are finally ready to start sharing our technology with the world. So thank you very much for your time, and please, I'm very happy to answer questions along with Giorgio.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgios and Neem. So do we have questions?
There's nothing in the chat, but if anybody wants to ask anything, feel free.
I am so looking forward to you guys going big because I love to cook, but I really don't like the time I spend on cooking. So you kind of optimizing that cooking time. I want your product now.
Okay.
And also that you can preserve so many nutritional qualities
Yes.
in what is being cooked. Like,
And also the freshness, Valentina. You know, if you have vegetables that you want to keep fresh for a long time, if you use our machine to partly dry them, they will still look and feel like fresh vegetables.
Yeah, these are flowers that are 5 years old, so you can see they've still got that beautiful
5 years old.
No,
Wow.
not 5 years. 1 year old.
1 year old. Okay, sorry,
Oh, yeah.
but they are very old still.
Yeah.
More than one. Then.
No, they're 1 year old.
So you're also reducing food waste. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also to make a point like that some solutions, and I think yours and ours, they can also be solving problems in such a complex in a holistic way. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
You think you're tackling one problem, but you can actually solving so many.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm wondering, what are your challenges right now as a company?
Well, we have made 3 prototypes, and we're actually ready to take orders for the machines. So we would like investment from venture capitalists or other suitable companies, so that we can upscale the production. Because, as you know, building prototypes is one thing, and building machines at an affordable and competitive price is another. So we would like to partner with investors, maybe to upscale our production. But we are ready to take orders for machines. One of the ways that we intend to get some revenue coming in quickly is to actually use our small industrial machine that we have to dry and cook on bespoke terms for clients who may want to dry or cook their foods but cannot afford the machine yet, or they just maybe would like to do some testing before they buy a machine. So we are able to do that for them as well. So we intend to bring some revenues by actually using our machines to cook and dry foods whilst we're waiting to get some orders. We have quite a few interested people who have asked for prices for our machines, and we're currently negotiating with them. Hopefully we'll have some good orders soon.
Looking forward. Is there any specific customer group that you're focusing on, or?
Well, like we said, we found a lot of interest from the algae growing people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not focusing on a specific.
No, we're not
market,
focusing
no.
on a specific market. We can sell machines or build machines for anybody who wants to cook or dry foods. So
Products, yeah.
yes, or other products actually. Our technology is not only suitable for foods. We've actually been speaking to a paper recycling company who are currently paying to get rid of their waste, but with our technology, they can dry it to the required level so they can sell their waste rather than paying to get rid of it. Again, with big companies, you need to wait for them to have board meetings and make decisions before they can actually order machines. So this is the stage where we are at the moment.